This session is interesting in the fact that the U.S. chapter members voted on the question, who would you like to hear talk about the global sourcing question? The 8 panelists today are indeed the winners of that poll. To host it and to chair it, we have the pleasure of having Mr. George Will as the facilitator. George F. Will is today's most widely read columnist. His newspaper columns has been syndicated by the Washington Post since 1974. Today it appears twice weekly in approximately 400 newspapers in the United States and in Europe. In 1976, he became a regular contributor, editor of the Newsweek magazine, for which he provides a bi-monthly essay. In 1977, he won a Pulitzer Prize for commentary for his newspaper columns. Altogether, 8 collections of Will's Newsweek's and Washington Post columns have been published, the most recent being Our Man's America. In 1990, Will published Men at Work, The Craft of Baseball, which topped the New York Times bestseller list for 2 months. In 1998, Scribner published Bunts, Curt Flood, Camden Yards, Pete Rose, and Other Reflections on Baseball, a best-selling collection of new and previously published writings by Will on baseball. Will was a member of Major League Baseball's Blue Ribbon panel examining baseball economics. In 1991, Will became a founding panel member on ABC Television's This Week. Will was born in Champaign, Illinois, educated at Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, Oxford University, and Princeton University, where he received his Ph.D. He has taught political philosophy at Michigan State University, the University of Toronto, and Harvard University. Will served as staff member in the United States Senate from 1970 to 1972. From 1973 through 1976, he was the Washington editor of National Review magazine. Today, Will lives and works in Washington. Let's welcome Mr. Will.
Thank you very much. I want to introduce the panel. You all voted for these people, so you'll like them just as much as you like the Congress you have all voted for. First is Bill Payne, Vice President of CRM and Industries in Managed Business Process Services of IBM. Mark Schwartz, Senior Vice President, On Demand, Oracle Corporation. Susan Hogan, Principal, Deloitte Consulting, LLP. Tom Eiselt, Partner, Advisory Services, Ernst & Young. Anup Sagu, Managing Director, Business Process Outsourcing, Finance and Accounting, Accenture. David Poole, CEO, BPO Americas and Head of New Business Services, Capgemini. Cliff Justice, U.S. Leader, Shared Services and Outsourcing Advisory, KPMG. And Ken Hamill, Senior Vice President, Global Pre-Sales, SAP. In 1905, a minor bureaucrat in the patent office in Switzerland, in Bern, Switzerland, was leaving to go home at the end of the day, and he got on a tram that was pulling away from the town square where there was a tower with a clock at the top. The man had an idea. He said, what would the world look like if I were riding on a beam of light? He actually said, what would the clock in the tower look like if the tram were moving away from it at the speed of light? The answer, said this patent clerk named Albert Einstein, was that the clock would be stopped. His watch would keep ticking, but light would never catch up, and the clock would not move. My sense is that the people in your businesses are moving at the speed of light in business. And the world is changing with a velocity which, if it doesn't make you anxious, you don't understand what's going on. We live in a world described well by Walter Wriston. As globalization began, he said, capital goes where it is welcome and stays where it is well treated. The point of this panel today is to talk about how to support global businesses. how to get the business metrics for judging your decisions, and be aware of the political costs. The velocity of change is not going to abate. 50 years ago, South Korea was rubble. 25 years from now, another 200 to 300 million Chinese will have made the trek from country life to city life, the classic modernizing trek. So we are going to try and deal with some of your anxieties in the time allotted. If we neglect any of the questions that you will see put up on the screen above, you'll have time at about 3 o'clock to ask questions from the floor. But